Uh, no. Okay. Anyone who is part, I think like Pallavi, you are part of this, right? Do you mind sharing your mail ID so that I'll show you how do I add you guys? Okay, Janvi has messaged this. Okay, Janvi, I'm taking your mail ID and I'm adding you guys. I'm copying this. Now, if you see here, I'm going to add this and I simply say add. Now, whenever I do this, do you mind sharing your screen? Anyone? I think like Janvi, whose I have added. Ma'am, do you mind? You could able to share your screen if possible? Yes, very good. Let me make you as a co-host. Okay, I myself a co-host. One second, let me get the admin access, then I will give you the share access. Okay, I become the host. Now let me make. Uh, so Janvi, like you are the panelist now. Can you please check? Do you have an option of sharing? Are you getting an invite of from a panelist so that you can say, okay, you will be part of it? Okay, I can see you. Now let me make you as a co-host. Okay, you are the co-host, Janvi. So can you please share your screen? So whenever I sent you guys as a link of this guy, right? I mean, once I take your mail ID and I'm going to make you as a co-host here, you will be getting a mail to your mail ID, registered mail ID, saying that you got this invitation. Ma'am, you're sharing your screen. Could you able to share it with Janvi or challenge? Anyone else want to share the screen? You're getting 404. Obviously, I'll get. I joined using mobile. Oh, okay, not a problem. Anyone else want to share your screen, guys? You should be already part of your our Telegram. Then you have to be. You should able to share your screen. Anyone? Sunil. Okay, Sunil, you're already part of our Telegram group. Yes, very good. Can you share your mail ID here? Okay, let me make you as a co-host. Okay, this guy. Okay, Sunil Nageshwar, I made you as a co-host. You can start your screen share. Before that, in the background, let me add you as a co-host. Okay, you can see you can share your screen, please. Sunil, can you make it fast, please?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Do you see an option of sharing your screen, Sunil?
Yes, yes, yes. It is green color, no? As background, na, sir.
Anyone else want to share the screen, guys? Maybe he's facing challenge. It is visible. Is it so? I can't see that. Okay, yeah, now we can see it. Now, if you see here, once I added him as a co-host, you see, you will be getting a mail. Could you please go into your inbox? No, is this is the mail ID what you have shared with me? Can you please cross check? I mean, it is high. Is it is the same account which has been given? This is the one what you have given me, right? Can you go into your account and see what is the mail ID on the right top? Right top. Yes. If you see here, he is receiving an invitation, something like this. So whenever I add you as a co-host, you will be, please click on that invitation, first one. So you will be getting the invitation, something like this. The so-and-so person is going to allow you for to access so-and-so project inside your Git. Now you click on view invitation. You have not yet logged in. Could you please log in? One major thing what you need to see is the mail ID through which you have signed up with the GitHub should be given to me to get the invitation. Because like you might be having multiple mail IDs. You have signed up with a different mail in your GitHub and you have given a different mail. This is how you're going to get it as 404. If you see, he is already logged in. Okay, but still he might be logged in with a different Gmail account and he has given a different ID for me.
Yes, 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 yes.
Could you able to log in back to that, Sunil?
Sir,
On the
my
left
Gmail
top, can you
ID.
please see that account?
Sir, you can share me share invitation
Could you please
on.
close this? On the no, on the left corner, close this window. On the yes, at bottom, not that guy. At the bottom, yes. Okay, now you go to that profile on the left top. Profile is there, right? Sorry, right top. My mistake. Right top.
Sir, my email ID
On
is
the
the
right
same.
side, completely, you see your profile, right?
But,
Okay, I mean, you have given a different, different
yes, yes,
mail ID and your invitation got different.
yes,
Anyway, you
yes,
can just
yes,
check it. You give me the right mail ID in order to get the
yes, yes.
access. Okay, you can pause your, stop your screen share. Anyway, once you do this guy, right, you should able to, I mean, everybody understood this. You will be getting this. But anyway, I have to show the Git
Sir, you can
tortoise
share
also for
once
you guys
again.
to check out. Anyone else want to share your mail ID? Swati, I want to share. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please share your mail ID? Swati. Okay, I'm taking your mail ID. Okay, I'm adding Swati as a collaborator here. Okay, I sent your invitation. I'm making you as a co-host now. Oh my God, how many Swatis have got added? You know, I see two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8. Swati, I could able to see. How come? Is it virtual copies of yours? Remove is also not possible. Swati, can you hear me now? You're there in the class? I removed the other instances. You're still there, right? Okay. So can you start? Okay, I'll make you as a co-host. Analyst. I'm making you as a co-host. You can start your screen share, please. I'm stopping my screen. Can you please share your screen? Yes, thank you. Now, once she is here, okay, can you go to your mail ID, ma'am? If possible, inbox, reload, reload, please. Once again, might be. Yeah. So if you see, she's just clicking on this and she says something called as view invitation. She gave me the same mail ID and she logged in into the GitHub also the same mail. Then you won't be getting that 404. Otherwise, you're going to face the same. Okay. Now she simply says accept the invitation. And once she accept the invitation, now she could able to see the projects, whatever I have. Whatever the code I have submitted, she could able to see the same piece of code there. Are we clear up to this? Everyone, I mean, people who have a Git access, you might be knowing this, but people who don't have a GitHub idea before, this is what you have to do here. Now the next thing is, I'm sharing my screen again back. Okay, now after you guys get this Git access, you should able to see this project over here. But whenever you want to run this project in your local, whenever you want to contribute, do something on this project, you have to check out this code into your local. Okay, in order to do the checkout of this local, you need to have something called as Git clients software to be installed. Okay, you need to have something called as Git client softwares to be installed in your local so that you can check out the code, you can check in the code, you can push the code, you can pull the code. A lot of things can be done. So what are the Git clients we have? We have something called as Git Bash is one of the Git client. Okay, Git Desktop is one of the client. There is something called as Git Tortoise is one of the client. So like this, there are Git UI is one of the client. Okay, there are lots of existing Git clients available. What are they doing? They are not storing your code, etc. and all. All the piece of code is being stored inside your GitHub only. But to get the GitHub code into your local, in future take your code into the GitHub. Do these operations, we need this Git clients. Okay, so in order to install the Git clients, you simply go to your go to Google and say something called as Git Tortoise. This is one of the mostly recommended way to go in your real time also. Even in my organization, every day I go with Git Tortoise to install or sorry, in order to submit or pull or push the changes. Okay, now once you go to this Git Tortoise, simply go with something called as download and you choose the version which you wanted. After you click this guy, you will be having, after you do this, everywhere you go into your folder, say for example, I go with a new folder, something called as test. After installation of this, whenever you right click on your menu, in the items, we could see something called as tortoise git. Or at the same time, git clone is the one which is going to come for you. Okay. Swati, do you mind sharing your screen back, ma'am? I'll show you how do we check out the code. Okay, so hope as you're already part of my UI batch, you might be already having this tortoise get. So go to your folder where you want to go with checkout. Okay, say UI full stack. Okay, click on this. Okay, Git is a folder already you have, right? Maybe you can go with Git. No, no, under the Git itself, you can go directly. There is an existing Git project, right? Yeah. Now she's having the UI classes project at the same time. Maybe right click another, right? No, no, don't go inside. Keep be in Git. Yeah, right click. No, no. In an empty space, right click. Now she want to clone it. Now just click on Git clone. You see, when she is clicking on Git clone, it will be showing the options, what all you want to show. Under the URL, you can delete it. I think some junk has been added. Now you go to the browser. Not this browse. Close this. Go to the browser, please. Okay, now she has to copy the project which she want to clone into her local. Click on the React Batch December 2026 folder. My first thing is I have to rename this folder, right? Copy it, right? Okay, come back to here. Come back to your tortoise. Paste that URL. Okay, so now not this guy. No, no. Can you reload the page? You don't need to go into UI classes. It's a separate project. Why do you don't see? Reload the page, ma'am. Once again. Right now we have seen that guy, right? Go into the other tab. The middle tab, third one. Yeah, now you can see this. Okay, copy this URL, please. From the top, you can copy from the browser URL. No, not from this copy. Yes, better. Okay, copy that. Come back here. Paste this. Remove that tree, etc. Only until December 2026 is the folder what you have to go for. Okay. Now this is the project she want to clone into her local. Whatever you have inside your github.com, she want to get it into her local. And what is the location? At the bottom you can see she's having some UI full stack under that Git folder, under that React batch so and so. Now you please click on OK. Okay, close. Now you go to your local folder. You see, she's having that React batch so and so, and whatever the code I have already added, everything is already part of her local machine. Now she want to run the piece of code. Go to your December 11th folder. You see here, this is the existing web application. Open this guy, go to SRC. You see here, whatever the components we have created, everything is part of her local. Now she can run it local, she can debug, she can add the changes, she can delete the changes, whatever she want to do the changes, she could able to do it on the same project. Are we clear? So this is what is expected from everyone. Please share your mail IDs in the Telegram group. Don't ping me directly. In the group itself, you throw that, you keep that mail ID. Whenever I get some free time, I'll make sure I'll copy and do it. As you have seen this guy, I have to do it manually. I need to pick up every individual mail and I need to make you guys as a collaborator. So this takes a bit of time, but I'll make sure I'll finish in just a couple of days. As I think I already have 80 plus students in our group, but I'll make sure I'll do it gradually. I'm going to do that. Is that fine? Okay. Any more questions up to this now? Now, next time you may say that, okay, boss, today you have already added that group here. Or else, for example, Swati got that access and she could able to access the piece of code. What about like today latest changes you are doing? Now, how can she take the latest? You simply go to this folder. Okay, for example, this is the folder where you have. right click on this folder, go to Tortoise Git and say something called as pull or fetch. What actually it will do? It will go to github.com. It will compare your local copy and the GitHub copy. If there is any changes being done over there, it will make sure to copy the changes to the local. You don't need to you don't need to compare every individual file like whether this changed or not, this didn't change or not. Instead of you doing the things manually, it will be automatically taken care by your Git clients. Okay, so Git Tortoise is one of the most uh, popular Git client which we generally use in our real time also. Or you can go with Git Bash also. Git Bash is something command prompt which we are going to use. Through commands you're going to do, whereas Git Tortoise is GUI, graphical user interface. Okay, so any questions up to this? Guys, whoever have joined the class today, you please visit the videos what Sukanya has already shared. If there is any questions, please come back to me. Then I'm going to answer that. Because if I repeat the things, it will be like a repetitive part for the others who have already joined. Okay. And I already mentioned Telegram link. I'm not going to share. You need to ping the admin. Admin will be adding you guys as a part of it. Then you can share your mail IDs there. When I can get where I can get the videos. I think Sukanya already messaged in this chat itself, right? Where was that? Yes. Okay, let me redo that. Yeah, Sukanya already messaged it. Any more questions? Any more questions up to this Git, etc.? All good? Okay. Now let us. I'm using organizational. I think GitHub Access don't have there. Yeah, you need to check your laptop, Ganesh. What will be the class duration? Those all things, again, a repetitive part. You please visit the videos. In the videos, we have already discussed about the course content, the timings, etc. part. Those all are part of it. Please go through with that. Any questions you get on those videos, and tomorrow I'm going to show answer every other questions. Okay. Yeah. So the next part, what we have is, before we go with the next topics, first of all, let us understand what are the core concepts of React, which is making React so popular. Okay. What are the core features? Now, when I say something called as, what are the advantages you're getting from your HTML? HTML is a language using which you could able to use some existing markup tags there. Using the tags, you could able to generate the UI. And the advantage what we have is the whatever the UI we are generating, it is common across your browsers. I can run the same HTML in your IE, Opera, Safari, Chrome, any browser you wanted. In the same way, what are the core concepts of your React.js? Now, why people are React.js library. And when you go with your React, there are two flavors of React, guys. There is something called as React.js and there is something called as React Native. When you come into your React is two flavors. One is React.js and one is React Native. What do you mean by React.js here? It is a JavaScript library to build rich UI features or web applications. Isn't it? Why we are going with the React.js, boss? It is a JavaScript library using which you could able to build the rich UI components to create your web application. What do you mean by this React Native, guys? To build mobile apps. Okay. React Native is plainly or purely into the building the mobile applications, whereas React.js is going to be your web application. In your class or whatever the classes you have joined for, we are only going to discuss about how as a library he is building the rich UI components. Okay, whatever the UI components we are going to create, that is the only thing we are going to discuss here. We have nothing to do with your native. We are only joined for this class for the React.js library, not for the React Native. Okay, when you go into your React web page, right? So when you go into this React Dev, you see in the web page itself, he has created a pure statement saying that it is a library for web and native user interface. Web is the application what we are creating. Native users in the sense mobile. Okay, so mobile development, what is meant for? Okay, is there is any difference in React and React JS? There is no difference, Sunil. Generally, people call it as React. That itself is React JS library. Madhuri. Okay, is it? Uh, Maybe you can share the class link once again, ma'am. Not sure, like, what is the reason that she couldn't able to access. Okay, so this is how you could able to, I mean, this is what your React is. Now, let us talk about what are the core concepts which are making React is so popular. As I already mentioned, what are the competitors of your React? What are the competitors? We discussed this, boss. We already discussed about the competitor, right? The competitors are Angular is a competitor for your React.js. Next.js is also a competitor. There is something called as Cane.js. There is something called as Backbone.js. There is something called as Knockout.js. There is something called as Vue.js. Okay, like this, there are n number of competitors. Even those libraries or frameworks are also capable of creating the rich UI components, etc. and all. So those are all like competitors for the React.js. Now, among these all competitors, how come the React.js is standing on one or the second position? Hundreds and millions and I mean hundreds and thousands of libraries which are available in the market. Now, why these two, Angular and React, are the one who is standing on the top? So, what is making React so special, or what are the basic features he is providing so that you guys are, I mean, we guys are making use of the same guy? Let us take in the real time example. I say that, boss, outside in the market, you have lots of phones available, lots of organization phones, like a lot of number of phones are there. Why Apple is standing on the start, on the top? Okay, so why the reason? What are the core features he is providing? Maybe security, maybe durability, maybe the what do you say? The strongness what is providing. Okay, lot of things are there. So based on the core features, you will be turning up into the such a particular product, and you're going to make use. Now, what are the core concepts of your React JS for which we are turning up and making sure that most of the web applications are following the React JS in order to build up their web application. So let us go into what are the core concepts he's going to provide. The very first core concepts what we have is component based development. Okay, I'll list out the core concept, then I'm going with explanation of all this. At the same time, it even provides a JSX way of developing your application where JavaScript, where HTML content can be injected within JavaScript code itself. Okay, the other core features what we are going to have is very important, which is virtual DOM. Okay, so what do you mean by virtual DOM? At the same time, uh, data binding. Another main feature we have server side rendering components. This is the one which is coming from your React 19. Okay, from the latest React 19, they started supporting the concepts of rendering the components from your server also. We'll discuss that. fragmenting, support to routing, support to routing, 8, performance, conditional rendering, okay, so these are some of the core concepts what we can see, which is making the word React.js a bit unique when compared with your other technologies. At the same time, very popular. Another thing what we can add is supports both JS and TS. Supports both JavaScript and TS based development. Swati, when you say hooks, right? I mean, when we go with the hooks or state management or event handling, these all things will be coming under the concepts of your React.js. So here we are talking about the features of your React. Okay, when we go with the concepts there, at that time, now we are talking about the basic core values or like core features what your React.js is built on the top. Okay, so first thing, we already discussed about this. What do you mean by guys understanding so that when you're developing your things, even though these are theoretically, but you'll be understanding that okay, this is the reason why we are going with the React. You know, the most common interview question what you might get in your interviews is they will ask you why you choose only React, why not others? Okay, why you would have gone for the Angular, you would have gone for the Cane.js or other libraries. Why the reason you have gone with the React? Or why React is making different when compared with your other frameworks or your library? So to understand this, first of all, you need to understand what are the core values or core features your React.js is providing. Okay, so the very first one, what we have is component based development. So in your React, it is very much mandatory that every feature, whatever we are adding, should be for sure a component. If you say that, no, I don't want to go with the component based development, then React is not at all a suitable library for you to go for. Okay, we already discussed what do you mean by a component based development. Anytime you're developing any of the web application, now you see this is one of the web application. Under that, I say something called as a header bar. I say something called as a footer bar. I say something called as a left bar. I say something called as a right block. Under the right block, I'm going to have some product details, something like this. Now, if you see, every individual red box is going to be a component. Okay, I'm going to create header as a separate component, footer as a separate component, left block, right block as a separate component for the product details. One example we have already seen this guy. So this is a visiting card, a individual component. Now everyone is so clear with the definition of the component also. One individual component is having its own business logic. nothing to relate with your other components. Its own look and feel, nothing to relate with your other component. Its own HTML, nothing to relate with your other components. So one individual component in the sense you are like a individual piece of block having your own business logic, having your own look and feel changes, having your own HTML. Okay, and the main advantage we have with your components, are you guys only segregating this logic, HTML, CSS? Is the reason we are going with the components? No. The main reason is reusability. If you want the one single component to be re-rendered multiple times, you don't need to rewrite the piece of code. Just reuse the component. That's it. So that is what we have seen in our last class, right? When you go to your main index.js. You see here, whenever you want a component, for example, another visiting card I wanted, just copy this component and paste this component once again. Done. Once you do this guy, automatically second component will be re-rendered for you. Am I rewriting the piece of code there? No, I'm not rewriting the logic of this visiting card. I'm not rewriting the CSS of this visiting card. I'm not rewriting the HTML of this visiting card. But still automatically getting rendered. What I have used, I simply said let component re-render this guy. And when you go with this visiting card, whatever the code has been written for this, the business logic I have not added, but here the JS logic or business logic we call it as, that will be part of this. So these all things will be automatically coming into getting rendered on the page. So React strictly follows the componented based development. If you say that no, I don't want to go with component, I want to go with a different way, React is not at all a suitable example or suitable choice for your applications. Any questions up to component based development? Anyone? Any component, anyone so clear, any questions with the component based development? We'll talk about that, Madhuri. Class-based component, we'll discuss about this because when you go with component different types, functional and classes we have, that is internally when we go with the React, we are going to discuss. Are you clear with this? Are we use pre-processes in the React? Uh, we might be, not mandatorily. Again, this is not the right. I want to restrict my discussion only with the topic what we are discussing. Okay, so let's do this. Then I'll go with the other questions. Functions also some common logic. What is said in the interview point of view? Functions also have some common logic, but functions doesn't behave. Now, if you see, what do you mean by a function? What is her question is, boss, the reason why we go with a function. If I say that, what is the reason we are going to define a JavaScript function? So that the logic can be reused multiple times. Once you define a function, that can be reused any number of times in an application. Now, what she is saying is, functions and components having the same definition here? No. The reason why we go with the function is only a piece of functionality to be repeated. But whereas what is a component? A component is a individual separate look and feel, separate CSS, separate HTML, and separate business logic, right? For example, search bar is there in your Amazon. That is a component. It's having its own look and feel, own functionality. What is the functionality of it? When you search something, I'm going to search and give it to you. Okay, so let's take a practical example, guys. Now, when I say that, let's say a marriage event is happening. Okay, a marriage function is happening there. Now, in a marriage event, there are multiple components which are being injected. For example, the guy who is arranging the dinner is a separate component, a separate entity. The guy who is working on arranging the decoration is a separate component. The guy who is taking care of the marriage things and all, he's going to be a separate component. Now, if what is the reason we are going with a separate? Why don't you go with one person? You say that you do everything. The problem is, I mean, why don't you make one single page and you say that everyone is part of it? The problem, what you say is, if it is a separate component, it will be easy for you to segregate the things. For example, something issue happened with my dinner. Do I need to talk to everyone? No, I only go to the particular component. I will take care of this. If I'm having some issue with the decoration, I only go to that separate component. I'm going to take care of this. And the other advantage is, if I have to repeat the same decoration in a other place, I don't need to rewrite and all. I'll just call that guy, boss, do the same guy into the other location. Isn't it? But when you come to the functionality, functions, JavaScript function is nothing to do with the UI, nothing to do with the CSS. Those are just simply one piece of logic. I take the parameters, I implement the logic, I'll throw it back to you. Did that answer your question, Swati? Difference between these components and your functions? Okay, so function components are, when you say component, close your eyes and say that component is one look and feel. As I said to you, when you go with something called as Amazon, we discussed that Amazon page is not a one single page. A page which is been built by based on n number of components. You see, this search bar, its look and feel is one bordered orange box is there. By default, it won't be bordered. When I click on this, automatically getting highlighted. That is its functionality. Other functionality Y as automatically it will be showing you the auto suggestion values here. That is its own. Now, is this search box anything to do with this product details, etc.? No, I am a complete separate entity. My only responsibility is search bar look and feel. When you search something, I will fill it automatically. Now, how the products are getting filled? Now, when I click on this item of this, what need to be done? That will be taken care by the someone else. My responsibility is throw some search box. When the user clicks on it, highlight yourself. When the user is writing something, I will fill these things here. So my own functionality, my own look and feel, my own HTML, nothing to do with my other components. Are we clear? So here is these all are individual component. Header is one component, search box is one of the component, cart is one of the component. These all like n number of components we have. So the advantage is, if you want to repeat it, you can simply say search box component, copy paste it, another component will be rendered automatically. Okay. Any questions? So, Pallavi, what is recommended to write? Separate CSS file for corresponding TS file or common CSS file? It is never recommended to go with the single file, Pallavi. Now, obviously, when I say one single component, okay, one single component, you will be having your JavaScript code, you will be having your HTML code, you will be having your CSS code also. Now, what she's saying is, do you want to combine all this piece of code into one single file? Not recommended. Is it is possible to do that? Yes. One thing we have already seen, when I was creating this visiting card component, you see product details component we have written better. You see product details component, I have its own JavaScript logic. I have its own HTML combined into one single file. Where is the CSS? You see, I created the CSS as a separate file. I have imported that guy. So that is recommended. Because like when I say why you, because this is a single small component having some 30 lines of code, it's okay. What if like one single component having some thousands of lines of code? So I don't want to combine everything and put it into the same. Instead of that, make it as separate. Other advantage is the same CSS can be used in other place also. Okay? Am I clear, Pallavi, with your question? Ganesh, is Angular developer? I can see some concepts, same like Angular, like etc. What are the new unique concepts? Is that fine, Ganesh? As I said, that you are asking the right questions, but can we put this relatively? Okay, let me finish the core features what we have with your React. And your point is right that Angular, React, or Vue.js, Cane.js, Backbone.js, most of them are having the similar topics. Obviously, everyone is going to create the rich UI web application. Output is going to be same for any other web application. What unique they are going to do in the background? Let us say in the phones. I may go with a Samsung phone. I may go with some Oppo phones. I may go with some Apple phones. Everyone is going to throw the same, right? The UI, the look and feel, etc. Now, what is making so special that you're only choosing that? The background work, what they are going to do, is going to be different, right? So that is what it makes so popular. We'll discuss all of those. Is that fine, Ganesh? Next, share banking details, mobile number. Could you please share banking details and your mobile number? Why my bank details? You're going to pay the amount to me? Oh, to the admin. Oh, that's fine. I thought like you guys are going to pay me. If that is the case, I'll share it immediately. Okay. Any more questions? Payment detail. Yeah. Any more question? Is everyone so clear about this component-based development? What makes difference in creating application with React JS and React with TypeScript? I will come to that. Who is that? Uh, Raju. Okay, I will come to your question. First of all, I am restricting my discussion only to point number one. The only reason why I'm not going with others is I don't want to confuse. Okay, let us like one by step. Is everyone clear with point number one feature? Everyone. Anyone still says a question? Let me know. All good? Can I go forward? Can I go forward, everyone? Yes, no, offline. Offline students are very good, right? No questions at all. Okay, nice. Now, component based is you understood this. Very good. Now, the next part is JSX based syntax. Okay, the syntax what we are going to write in case of your React JS is we are going to write in the form of JSX or TSX, we call it as. If it is TypeScript also TSX. If it is JavaScript, we go with the JSX. What do you mean by this JSX here? Where HTML content will be injected within the JavaScript code itself. Now, if you go to the previous component, whatever we have created, this product details.js, this is a piece of .js file where we were writing the HTML content directly within the component. Where render is written is the predefined keyword we are using. Under the written, we are going to return one of the piece of HTML. The concept of writing the HTML content within the JavaScript or the TypeScript file, we call it as a JSX format. JavaScript within your XML format, we call it as. Okay, so JSX format is writing your HTML within this. Why the reason? Is it is not possible for us to create it as a separate file here? Why don't we make this component? Obviously, we say component, JavaScript logic, CSS, and HTML. CSS, we made it as a separate file. Okay, now we are combining JavaScript and HTML into one single file. Mostly, what we do is we are not going to increase the complexity of the component like too much. You won't be having too much of HTML. You may say that, boss, what if like 1,000 lines of HTML code will be there? In a very rare case, you will be having it. Because if it is 1,000 lines of HTML, you would have divided that into another set of components. Isn't it? Now I say, for example, one single classroom where we are sitting is a parent component. Under that, what are the subcomponents? Can I say projector is a component? Yes. Fan is a component. Chair is a component. Switchboard is a component. The table is a component. Laptop is a component. We combined multiple components and we made it. Now, do you think that we create all of this as one single component? No. So you need to divide it. That is where advantage is going to come. Right? Yes or no? So that is the reason. Mostly, we generally, even in real time also, we go with having HTML within the same component itself, like this. The JSX format we call it as. But yes, there is a possibility. What if like I want to separate this guy? It is not possible to include a external HTML, but we go with something called as creating this copy. I'll copy this guy and I save it as a template and I do an Ajax call and you're going to put it manually. So that's a manual process what we are going to do. We will discuss that. But in general, we put the HTML logic within your component logic itself, the JavaScript code. This type of syntax, we call it as a JSX format. For example, I am creating a normal HTML. I think we created one sample.html, right? Or else let me create a sample.html. Say some sample.html where I'm Okay, under sample.html, I'm saying some div. Hello, everyone. And I say some script src, say some app.js is the file what I'm giving. I created, say some app.js file. I say console.log. Hello, everyone. And I say a function like this, some simple a plus b piece of function. Come back to the sample.html and I start running this guy. Now, when I say sample.html, it is getting executed under your console. You should be able to say that hello everyone. Okay, valid piece of HTML and JavaScript code. Under this JavaScript code, I say something called as uh, I say instead of this return, I will say something called as return. Boss, you have to add a div. Hello all. This is the piece of code what I have written. When I come back and reload, compilation itself is failing. Okay, compilation itself is failing. What is the reason it is saying? What do you mean by this Angular brace, boss? Being a JavaScript guy, you cannot directly write your HTML content over there. If at all you have to write this hello all into your HTML through JavaScript, you need to write a piece of code. Okay, my expectation is assume like um, assume like return a plus b is there, right? I'll comment out this guy for some time. Okay, I will say this app.js id id is equal to something called as block. Okay, and I will say here where result is equal to add 10 comma 20. Okay, and I say document dot query selector hash block dot inner HTML is equal to result. What I'm doing is dynamically through JavaScript, I'm identifying a element called as block. For that guy, I'm setting the value as result. Now let us save this, come back, reload the page. You see the sum is been shown. This is a normal JavaScript code. No, I would like to go with a JSX format where return result instead of this guy, I will go with this guy where hello all. I'll say where sum is equal to a plus b, and this sum guy I would like to show over here. Under your HTML itself, I'm writing your JavaScript. Sorry, under your JavaScript itself, I'm writing HTML. Am I getting an error? Yes. Boss, if at all you have to get the JavaScript data to be shown on the page through DOM operations, you need to do that. You cannot directly write your HTML content within your JavaScript. That is completely a invalid writing way of code. But now what we are doing, if it is React.js, we are using something called as JSX format, where in React, it is possible to write your HTML code inside your JavaScript file itself. So that is what your React is following. So you don't need to manually write a separate HTML, separate JavaScript doing all this. I will make sure, you as a developer for a specific component, you write your own HTML, you add your own JavaScript logic, put it into the one single file. And I'm calling it as JSX formats. Are we clear? So this is one of the core feature what your React.js is providing. If you're writing the JavaScript code, it will be called as a .jsx format. If you're writing the TypeScript code, it will be called as a TSX format. Okay, format will be different, but the standards what we follow is same. Any questions on this point number 2, JSX and TSX? Swati, can you please add a short note about JSX in running notes to answer quickly in the interviews? Sure, ma'am. In fact, we already added, right, where HTML content can be injected within the JS code based syntax. Easy to retrieve the JS code to HTML view. Okay, whatever the JS code data we have, that is what we have done. If you go into your visiting card JS, if you go to your product details.js, you see this is the data you have, you're directly accessing over here. We are not doing any type of DOM operations. Are we clear? Any more questions with this point number 2? Can I go forward? Everyone is so clear with point number 1 and point number 2 now. Yes, no. I got yes from only Swati, Jaya, Parameshwar, Shivangi, others. All good, right? Very good. Now the next part what we have is virtual DOM. One of the whole and which is like heart of your React JS, we can call it as. Okay, you know, I mean, React JS main popularity, why it is so faster in rendering the content. Virtual DOM is the main basic feature. I will pause it for today. We'll meet back on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll start